Hi, I'm Peter Kalmstrom of kalmstrom.com Business Solutions. In this demonstration, I will show you how to present a big SharePoint list using a small SharePoint list in a quick graph web part on SharePoint site. And most importantly, it will be auto updating. So this is something that can be very useful, and it's somewhat tricky to get around, but I hope you can follow along with the steps. So the principles is that we're going to create a summaries list because the quick graph does not do any calculations. So we have to do that for the quick graph. So let's just remove this stuff for now and then add a one column section here, and then we're just going to add a quick chart there. Now if I connect that directly to that list, you'll see the problem right away there. So I'm just going to do the line total and the title, right? There you go. That's all the data. And that's not what you want to show. Of course, you want to show the summaries. So let's just publish that as it is now, and we'll fix that later. Now you see the problem. Now we're going to look at the solution. So the solution comes in two steps. First of all, I'm going to create another list here, a list with the summaries so we can connect it to that. Create that. And that's going to have just two columns, the title of the summary and the actual currency number. So we're going to add another column here. So number, actually let's make it a currency. There we go, currency. Next, and sales. There we go. We can hide the decimals on that one. That's fine. So now we're going to populate that, and I'm just going to edit in grid view here and write in the different categories that we have in our data: accessories, bikes, clothing, and components. Those are the data points that we have. Right. And now we're just going to fill in the data. So let's see, 2, 3, 4, something like that, right? 5. Just to show you that this is working, this method. So let's just edit that and put it back here so that it connects to the right data source now. So we'll just change to sales summaries there instead, show the data from those. Now it's looking much better, right? Much more readable. But of course, we don't want to type in our data into the sales summary list. I'm just going to republish this now, but we want that to happen automatically. So I'm going to create a new automated cloud flow here. I'm going to call that update sales. All right. And that's going to trigger when an item is created or modified in SharePoint. So I'm going to create that one and connect it to my SharePoint site here, the one I'm working on there, and then connect it to the raw data, the bicycle sales. New step. Then I'm going to get all the items from that category that was changed. So get items. There we go. And let's get back to the data here, bicycle sales, so we can see what we're working here. The category that we have is actually, of course, in the bicycle sales, but I want to filter this now, so I only want to get those items because this is a slow action, so we don't want to do that too much. I'm going to filter that. The title equals, for example, accessories. So here we see the title is there, right? That's the type of sale that was made. We can just group that and we can see what happens there. Just accessories, bikes, clothing, etc. Right? That's our data that we're working with. With title equals, and then the title of the item that was added or modified. So now we have all that data. Next, we're gonna just get the numbers that we're gonna count with. We're gonna do that by putting it in an array. And we do that with the select data operation. And now we're gonna select from the value, the list of items here. We're just going to select the line total. So I switch to text mode so I can import the line total there. Now we have that in an array. However, to summarize with that, we have to put it first into JSON and then into XML. So select line totals just to express what we're doing here. Then we're going to make that into a JSON array. So next step is to do a compose action. Also data operation, compose, outputting JSON, that's what we're doing. So then we're going to create a JSON object, and that's going to have a root object. That root object is going to be a numbers array. So I'm just going to do numbers there with quotation marks, of course. And you have to be exact with how you're writing this, so otherwise it will create trouble. There we go. And then I'm just gonna do the select that we have there. I'll put there. Now we have that as a JSON object, so that's closed off. Next step is that I'm going to make a query with that using XPath. However, XPath cannot work with JSON, it needs to work with XML. So we need to create that into an XML object. So let's create a variable. We are still on the top line, so we can do that, even though maybe we should have done it earlier, but let's do it. I like having my variables on top. That's old school, but I like it. So we're going to initialize the variable, init and set. That's what we're doing, right? So call it sales summary, and that's going to be a float variable because we might get decimals in here also. So now I'm going to calculate. I'm going to do an expression here. First, we're going to do an XPath. So the XPath works with an XML object. So first we need to have an XML object. Luckily, we have an XML function that we can use, or an expression. So that's going to take the outputs from the JSON action that we just did before. And so now we have an XML object. And then the second parameter in my XPath formula is that I'm going to write a query. That's a string. And then we're going to do the formula, and that's going to be a sum and of the object that we have. So I'm just writing that down, root like that, and numbers. Very important with the correct upper and lower case there, of course. That should be it. So there we have the formula. Now there should be a parenthesis, end of the parenthesis there. That's the formula there. So here, this is my string with the formula. That's the end of my XPath function there. So there we go. So now the sales summary should be in that variable. Next is that I'm just going to update the SharePoint item, but I don't know what item it is because there's going to be 4 of them there. So I need to get it first. I could hard code the numbers. That would make it faster, but less reusable. So I'm going to get the items from the list here, the SharePoint list with the summaries. I'm going to do a query. So title equals title of the object that was changed. See if I can spell title. There we go. Title. Now we have the summary there. And now I'm just going to update it. So let's do that. Update item in SharePoint. Same site. And I'm updating in the same list, sales summaries, and I just want to put the ID of the get summary one. There we go, and that's of course only going to be 1, but this loop we don't have to worry about it because it's actually going to be just 1 item. And then I'm going to update the sales number there in the sales column there. All right, that's it. That's our entire flow. So now let's test this, and of course we're going to test it manually. I'm going to go in and edit one of the items here. So I'll edit this one, for example, just do any kind of change here. And let's actually not change the numbers. Let's just change the color just to make this run. Of course, later people would insert this data or we could import that data from somewhere else. But now, anyhow, when I made an edit here, then this ran successfully. Let's see how long it took. As you see, everything went on 0 seconds. The apply to each here just took 1 second. So actually updating the SharePoint item was the slowest one. So it's a really fast update. So let's go to the homepage and see if we have any data there. We got a 0. Okay, so let's see what happened. Let's see what we have in the variable there now. It's fast, but it was wrong. So let's see if we can find the issue real quick. So something went wrong in my formula there. Outputs, JSON, sum, root, number. I wrote it in singular. All right. Of course, we need to be very clear with that. So let's test it again. And with the recently used there, let's see how that goes now. Now this is running. Should still be fast. There we go. Run successfully. Let's just see the numbers there. Yep. Before we refresh the page again. There we go. Yes, that's the right number. Refresh. And now we have the correct data there. Of course, now it's all accessories. Great. Now we can just make a couple of more edits. Actually, let's just do it the way it should be done, not by editing the actual data. If we want to run this flow on multiple items, there's one simple way to do it. Just add a yes/no box here. Test. And then we can go ahead and modify the data without actually modifying the data. So let's now group by title there. We've already run the accessories. Now let's do the bikes. So I'm just going to edit that item there and set the test to yes. Done. And then that's clothing. Let's do the same thing there. Edit. Yes. There. And finally, components. Just edit one of the items. Yes. All right. So now my flow should have ran for each of these updates. There we go. Let's go back to my homepage and now refresh the page. And there's my real data. As you see, there's accurate data there. All right, so a rather long and somewhat complex demo, but I hope you will find it useful. And of course, your users will love having the accurate latest data on there. And of course, you could also use Power BI for this. That's a whole different component, a whole different set of functions. But this is a rather quick and simple solution that will definitely work directly against the SharePoint list without using Power BI. Thank you for watching this demonstration.